Hi, welcome to Pep Talk. My name is George Gantz. I'm a member of PEP, Promoting Enduring Peace. Our motto is peace on earth, peace with earth. Do you sometimes feel that our problems today are all so big that you are powerless to do anything about them? When there's a big humanitarian disaster, the United Nations rushes in thousands of trained personnel and raises billions in pledges to deal with it. Who are you to help if the global response falls short? Government leaders argue about the refugee crisis, the Syria crisis, the Libya crisis, the North Korea crisis. Who are you to tell them what to do? Multinational corporations and billionaire business leaders make big deals and spend millions to get favorable approvals. Who are you to try and make sure the process is fair? Media moguls and marketers decide what you hear about, sometimes twisting the truth beyond recognition, while trolls and fake news haunt the internet. Who are you to try and sort through all the BS? Yes, this can be discouraging. What am I supposed to do? Well, do you remember the old saying, think globally, act locally? This has been a motto of the environmental movement for decades. But I want to ask you to consider a different idea. Think locally, act locally. Rather than focus on the big problems, let's focus on some of the smaller ones for a bit. Let me tell you a story about two women who saw a problem in my community and did something about it. In 2002, Jean Seiden was treated for breast cancer, and her friends and neighbors delivered meals to the family to help them through. Soon after, her friend, Pam Washak, had to be treated for a sarcoma cancer in her shoulder, and Jean helped set up meal deliveries to the Washak family. In gratitude for the help and support they both received, the two women decided to form a local angel network to pay it forward to others who needed help. Sadly, Jean died from her cancer in 2006, but Pam continued their work, and in 2010 launched an expanded Neighbor Brigade that matched families in need in the community with volunteers wanting to help. Maybe they need meals prepared so they have time to visit a loved one, or someone to walk the dog a couple times a day, or the spouse needs to work but her husband has to be taken for chemo treatments or physical therapy. Volunteers willingly do these and other jobs, and Neighbor Brigade provides the platform for recruiting the help and coordinating all the efforts. In 2002, Neighbor Brigade had expanded to more than 1,500 volunteers and was serving hundreds of families and communities across the state of Massachusetts. Some of the stories are compelling. People dealing with tragedy, being supported by strangers who became close friends. Families being so touched by the help they received that they later make active volunteering a family commitment. Lives have been turned around, deep and enduring relationships have been created. Pam died later that year, taken finally by the cancer that started her on this journey. This was an incredible loss to her husband, to her family and friends, including my wife and me, and to the community she had served so generously and so well. The organization she founded has continued to thrive. Neighbor Brigade now has active chapters in 31 communities throughout New England, with more than 3,000 active volunteers. Thousands of families have been touched, blessed by the outpouring of support from their local community. Many friendships have been forged, and a strong sense of community belonging and support has emerged within the network of volunteers and recipients. Many feel that Pam was indeed an angel, whose strength of character and generosity of heart continues to benefit so many. This is an inspiring story, but it is not the only one. There are similar stories in many, if not most, communities around the world. People stepping forward to help those in need, those acts of kindness being returned to others, the small initial efforts leading to an expanding community of caring and committed relationships. This is the hidden process that can change the world, step by step, one kind act at a time. Here's another story from one of the most desperate places in the world, the Congo. Last October, author and researcher Séverine Autosser reported in the Washington Post about the remarkable Congolese island of Idjoué. In the midst of desperate poverty, a dysfunctional government, ethnic discrimination, and geostrategic vulnerability, this little community is characterized by strong grassroots organizations and community ties. Peace is secured not through guns or police, but by local social and community networks. A drug ring tried to open up, but word got around, and the citizens and their deep network closed them out. Individuals make a difference by working in cooperation with local and religious and traditional institutions and community groups, a strong network that engages and empowers the citizens of Idjwi. But aren't these just a local thing? How can they really make a difference on the big geopolitical crises of the day? Well, here's some interesting news. Researcher Benjamin Allen and his team have studied the way human social networks tend to behave, and they recently concluded cooperation flourishes best when each individual has strong reciprocal connections to a small number of others. So, when you cultivate a local caring network in your community, you're also helping to build a global society in which cooperation and empathy can spread and flourish. Just think, by getting active and supporting efforts to make things better in your community, you can become part of a larger network of goodwill, courage, and inspiration that ultimately spreads across the globe. This may not get a lot of play in the media, but by thinking locally and acting locally, you can help make the world a better place. And perhaps more importantly, you will feel better and more helpful about changing the world and be energized to step into some of those issues on the global stage. When you do, please bring those local connections with you. So let's get to work. You can start by getting informed about the things you care about. Sign up for our free news service at peacenews.org and subscribe to some local sources of news and information. Get involved. Join us at pepeace.org and find organizations or volunteer opportunities like Neighbor Brigade in your local community where you can make a contribution. If there isn't a Neighbor Brigade chapter in your town, you can start one through neighborbrigade.org. It may seem like a small thing, but when millions of small things are added together, it's a big deal. And please share what you are doing and encourage others to help. Don't be embarrassed to broadcast your good deeds. Get others to chip in and share the goodwill. Bring that renewed energy and focus with you to help address the bigger issues we face. We want to think locally and act locally, but then activate those networks to make a difference globally as well. Oh, by the way, Neighbor Brigade is hosting their 5th annual Pams Run in my neighborhood on October 15th. I hope you can join me. Check it out at pamsrun.org. Thanks for listening. Enjoy doing something good today.